The following announcement is paid for by the Wrestling with Nerds.
The name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, and you're watching the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. I don't know why, but you are.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Having a little fun tonight. We're going to do a little recap of what just happened in the wrestling world, and then we're going to have a little game. TJ, you sitting at the head of the table by any chance?
Well, AJ, it doesn't matter what I think. Didn't matter what Jinder Mahal think, because they got electrifying, and they got electrifying real fucking fast. Holy. He just pops up randomly now, and it's like, holy shit, it's The Rock. And as if you didn't need enough evidence, go find the clip of our beautiful ringside announcer as she leaps from her seat in a holy shit moment.
I hope she didn't know, and that was like a legit reaction. Irving?
She had no clue.
She had no clue. And the people had no clue.
Nobody, I don't think anybody had an inkling of clue that he was there.
That was... And yes, the tidbit you mentioned, the little bit, I'm going to go out to eat tonight, San Diego. Do I sit in a booth? Do I sit in a bar? Oh, yes, The Rock likes the bar. Or do I sit at the head of the table? Wow. Stage set. Let's go. I'm ready to ride that train.
I don't know if anybody can see it, but
yeah,
I have goosebumps.
The coolest thing about it is when he comes out and he tells the camera, hey, come here. And you look at that man's giant ass forearms and they're full of goosebumps. That it still gets to him that way. It's still fun for me. You never hear about John Cena making his returns and getting the goosebumps.
Well, he also doesn't point to it, so.
No, it's just always time to go to work.
Yeah. And to come out, it was a total. If you paid attention to social media all week long, it felt like Triple H was like, suck it, because he posted at was it Monday or New Year's Day or whatever. I might have my weeks confused, but he posted about a former WWF champion was going to make their return at day one. And if you read the comments on that, instantly people were like, if Jinder returns, I am done with this shit. If Jinder returns, this is worse than Vince. If Jinder returns, I'm not watching this anymore, and I'm going to go watch that show that only has half an arena. And what does Hunter do? He gives you Jinder fucking Mahal and says, ha, 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 watch this shit.
And I hope the people shut it off. The minute they saw Jinder, they went, fuck it.
And then Twitter blows up and they're like, fuck!
It's like you guys want you guys think that I'm going to give you anything and everything you want. I'm going to make you wait for it. Mm-hmm. You're going to wait for it.
Oh, and then on top of that, Ryan, my favorite part of the whole segment is the subtle shot at AEW where we have this half of the arena going day one and the other half of the arena that doesn't exist in AEW going dumbass or douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, TJ can vouch for me because we were watching it together. I
thought I was there too.
Asleep. I don't remember because I was falling asleep.
Ryan was like, he was pulling the TJ. He was about out. Like the arm was coming down on 3, and it weren't looking too good on Ryan. And all of a sudden, it was like,
I had literally woke up from Jinder's promo that he was doing that I don't know what any of it was, and pulled this headset down to say, "Hey, I'm going to bed," and I literally went, "Hey," just as that hit. What the Rock? And I was like, "All right."
Did I just hear The Rock's music?
It's like first it's like, no, that can't be, and then I'm like, all right, I guess I'm awake now, and then I was awake for it.
I've got 3 TV screens in my area. This one had something on it. Xbox was on this one. The one over here on quiet had SmackDown because nothing of note had happened all night, and I was bored with it. And all of a sudden, I look over.
Raw,
whatever. I've got smacked down by the episode. It was so amazing.
Speaking of SmackDown,
Over
did you
here.
guys know Roman's been on every episode of SmackDown this year?
Jesus Christ.
That streak will end soon.
Anyway, the third TV had the most glorious fucking piece of rock on it I've ever seen. Oh, the Dwayne was back. It was glorious.
And-
It was glorious. It was glorious.
And this is a prime example of Raw being on the USA Network and SmackDown being on Fox. If you remember when he showed up with McAfee, Fox blanked out everything he
Half
said,
of it.
and it wasn't entertaining. You had to literally go to Twitter to get the unedited version to enjoy it. USA let him go, and it was awesome.
Day one douchebag. Day one
He
douchebag.
called him an asshole. He called him something else. It was like, can he say that on television?
It was after 10 o'clock. Me.
I mean, it was great. I agree. And now the question becomes, we've got we're at the beginning of January. We've got 3 months to figure out what WrestleMania is going to be.
So, do we want to do a quick prediction on what we expect at Rumble? Because for me, I don't think it's going to happen, but I want it to happen. The Rock costs Roman the championship. I would assume Randy would win it at that point. Shut up, TJ. Let me go. Randy and Cody, Roman and Rock at Mania.
AJ,
Because-
we're only in,
yeah, but
in like the fifth inning here.
But Rock and Roman don't need a
Yeah.
title.
But it's starting to rain, and they might call it in the 7th.
Listen, it's only the fifth inning. We've got
I
at
can
least
tell you-
that
I-
belt's not coming off to
I-
Mania.
I can tell you this much. I was on board with the bloodline up until this long streak that he's just had of absolutely nothing happening. And it drawing stagnant because his dumbass doesn't show up on TV.
We've certainly aged a couple innings here, but no matter what, that belt is not coming off of him until then.
I don't ever, and I mean this in the upguarded respect of anybody, I don't ever want to hear anybody ever bitch about Brock Lesnar's title runs ever again in my
No.
entire life.
I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. And Ryan, you could attest to that.
I cannot. This is boring. If they have something for the later innings, they better fucking turn it on now because they're losing everybody.
I think they just did.
They-
that had to be.
Okay,
They're
Elimination Chamber is before Mania, correct?
yeah.
I think that's the plan.
Where
It
he
has to be.
where he drops it?
Well,
No,
think about it.
I think
no,
where these two may clash.
No, that has to be Mania.
no. The thing you're not thinking about though, Brock said nothing about the WWE title. He's just making reference to the head of the table. So all he wants is the head of the table and that red puka shell necklace around Roman's neck.
It's true.
If they're building Roman Reigns up to be this great mythical creature that he's supposed to be, why not have Roman go 2 nights in WrestleMania?
Fry, I know you've been on that long before anybody I've seen say it, and I love that idea.
Why not? Put him on WrestleMania twice. Let him wrestle. If he's supposed to be this great person that he's supposed to be, and he's supposed to be the best of the best, then let him wrestle night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. Let him make history that way. Is it going to piss people off? Most likely, because poor little Seth Rollins doesn't get his spotlight. But it also says who says Roman needs to be in the main event for both nights. You can easily put Roman in the main event night 1 against Cody. Have him drop the belt to Cody then, and then come back and have Cody or have Roman face Brock night 2. Let Seth and Punk be the main event for night 1 or night 2, and have Roman fight Rock right before that.
So is that your official prediction of who's winning the Rumble?
No. I think what's going to happen is I think Punk's winning the Rumble. I think that's a foregone conclusion because I can't see them having Cody win it back-to-back years. But I see them having Punk win it. I see Punk challenging Seth. That's got to be the WrestleMania match. It's the only one that makes sense. The shocker out of that, though, is the question becomes then: is Seth the world champion by WrestleMania, or does Punk beat Rollins and then somebody with a certain case cashes in? At some point, he's got to cash this case in. He only has until July.
Honestly, thought he was going to do it the other night.
And that's not to say that there isn't some crazy dude that walks around with a big ass sword that doesn't try to get him a belt before then.
You could also, and it would be amazing. It would be something that they shouldn't do about it. But Roman and Rock could be an impromptu match. You could have night 1 happen, have Cody beat Roman, or night 2. I would put it night 2 most likely, because it's Roman and the long streak and everything. So you put Roman and Cody, main event, WWE Undisputed title. Cody wins the Undisputed title, leaves the ring.
Finishes the
So
story.
Roman's already lost the belt. So he's distraught, sitting in the ring, pissed off that he lost the belt. He's no longer the best in the WWE, but he's still the head of the table. He's still got Solo and he still has Jimmy with him. Although, are they going to be with him?
Maybe not by then. Maybe not by then.
Are they going to be with him if he loses the belt? He could easily lose the belt and them two say, "Fuck you, dude. You ain't the head of the table."
Is Solo... Does he have affinity to Roman? Because when Solo came in, they said he was sent by the elders. So is he listening to the elders still?
Roman named him the next head of the table.
But you get my train of thought there, though.
Yeah.
Is there a plan in place of Solo going from Roman's side to...
Hear me out, because I'm very good at long planning. You guys know this. If they would listen to me, this show would be better. So you have the main event. You have Cody beats... Why is Siri clicking on? You have Cody beat Roman. He wins the belt. Cody celebrates. Cody leaves the ring. He doesn't need to be in the ring. Fireworks, all that stuff. That can go off if it wants to, because it's WrestleMania and they'll spend the whole budget.
But they've done it on the ramp before. Roman's done it on the ramp before. Have Cody go up the ramp.
Cody leaves. Roman's standing in the ring, disheveled, because most likely Jimmy and Solo didn't do their job. So he gets pissed at them too.
Probably pissed at Heyman.
They start like, "Fuck you, guy, I'm out," and they start walking up the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
You get Jimmy's music hits. Jimmy comes out in like a formal Samoan garb of some sort, and you have him stand at the top of the ramp. And
Jimmy or Jay?
Jimmy from Raw. Yeet
That's
guy.
Jay.
Yeet Jay. Sorry, you get Yeet guy standing at the top of the ramp, and then Rock's music hits. Rock comes down. Roman and Rock square off. Roman tells him, "I don't need to deal with you." Roman goes to leave. Jay, Jimmy, and Solo won't let him get out of the ring.
And then Alpha, Sika are on the...
Well, they're too old to get out there, but...
Rikishi?
But, like, it's made that, Rock, Roman, they're going to fight right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honor thing.
They have their match, and I don't care who wins, to be honest with you. It's got to be Rock, but I don't care.
Yeah, because Roman's going to go away for a while.
I feel like this has to be Roman loses everything. Roman loses absolutely everything in this thing. Rock wins. The boys come into the ring. They give the Rock the garb, the red necklace garb of being head of the table. Rock then takes it off because he's done. He's no more matches, no more nothing for Rock. No longer head of the table if you can't compete. And in front of Jay and Solo, or in front of Jimmy and Solo, Rock puts it on Jay. Makes Jay the official head of the table. And Jimmy and Solo, the three brothers, let's not forget, all three of them are brothers. They walk to the top of the ramp with the Rock. Kishi can come out if he wants. And Royal Rumble or WrestleMania ends with a new WWE champion, a new head of the table, and no more Roman Reigns.
So I like that. I like that a lot. The only thing that throws everything off is if this is the match where. What happened to Dusty where he won the title but didn't win the title?
Dusty didn't win the belt. Dusty won
The
the
match.
match by disqualification.
So
He didn't win
Champion's advantage.
what happens if they do something similar to that with Cody?
the belt. The WWE Universe will hang them on the stake.
Oh, really? If here comes Priest?
There has to be. Don't get me wrong. I love when WWE tells the WWE Universe, I'll give you what you want, but you ain't going to like the outcome. Meaning Cody wins, Damian cashes in. So you got what you want. He got the belt, but he ain't finished the story yet because Damian done took it from me. I don't think they can't go that way with this one because of last year's. I think you have to let Cody leave with the belt. Whether he loses it the next night on Raw to a cash in or whatever the case may be, or SmackDown, I'm sorry. Whatever it may be, I have a feeling Damian is going to cash in for the world title more than the WWE title. I feel like by the time we get to night 2 of Mania, Damian has already cashed in.
Oh, shit. I love this, everybody, and please comment below. Let us know what you guys think.
I think the idea of who are you going to pick to win Seth versus Punk is not going to be needed because I don't think either one of them would let the other win. I think their egos would get in the way of it, especially Seth.
And
Seth has the biggest ego of everybody in the WWE. Granted, he is a great in-ring performer, but when he's not at the top of the board, he bitches and complains and moans and groans more than anybody.
Also,
so I can easily see it where them two have taken each other out. Damian cashes in and wins the world title while they're both still out. I think Damian has an easy walk-up win for the world title.
this is all assuming Rollins is still the champion come Mania. I don't know what the plan for Elimination Chamber
is. Or
is.
even if Roman is still the champion by WrestleMania.
Well, Roman's going to have the belt till then. I don't foresee that changing. But I don't know what's being defended at Elimination Chamber.
I get that, but I really like my Royal Rumble.
I think what you'll have is you'll know by Elimination Chamber that Punk's challenging Rollins.
Well, is that a contenders match then?
So most likely what you'll have is you'll probably have 2 Elimination Chamber matches at Elimination.
Well, you're going to have a male and a female, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a women's match. Whatever belt doesn't get picked for Rumble or Mania is going to be contender matches at Elimination Chamber. And I think you're going to get probably like Seth and I don't know. They're going to be in Australia, so you might get I don't see it being Seth versus Drew again. I just don't see that working again. You could get Seth versus Gunther, but you could also get Gunther in the Elimination Chamber match.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, I think they have to work on getting the belt, the IC title, off of Gunther.
I think he's gotta start turning up the upside.
Basically, because if I want my WrestleMania match to happen, I don't want him going into it as a champion.
Oh, him and Brock.
Yeah, I want Gunther versus Brock. That's what I want at WrestleMania.
And that needs to happen soon, like now.
I think we get one more year of Brock now that it's announced that WrestleMania 41's in Minnesota. I think that'll be his last match.
I'm loving that he's having so much fun.
But it's gonna be really, really fun, and I haven't really I've thought of stories to play out that's not just the same ordinary stories. It's that the whole thing Cody's ring music says, where there's wrestling has more than one royal family, always sticks with me, especially with Cody versus Roman or Cody versus the Bloodline. It writes itself in a sense. But I'm excited to see where these next 3 months are going to lead us. They're going to be very drawn out for us because us three are headed to Mania. So like the next 3 months are going to seem like an eternity. I feel like. The
anticipation's killing me.
You have no idea.
I hope we get a little bit more Rock. More than just this show up and then like the next show up being Elimination Chamber and then Mania. I kind of hope we get some more Rock. I definitely think Rock will be in. Is it Perth? Is that how it's pronounced?
Perth, yes.
Australia.
Which it's gonna be like 5 a.m. in the morning for us.
I told you the other night. I'll bring the eggs and the bacon. You bring the coffee, bro.
I'll send you a Dunkin' gift card.
Take a nap at 10 o'clock p.m. Wake up early and let's go.
I'll be driving. Because that's a Saturday. It'll be a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning for us.
I think it's a Saturday.
They're before us.
So it would be Friday morning for us.
No.
It'll be Saturday morning at 5 a.m.
For us. Like a Friday
for
night
us.
for us.
No.
No,
like leading like it'd be Friday night
in the Saturday morning, not Saturday night into Sunday morning. Gotcha. Yeah, so I'll be on my way home from work while that show starts. So, but the road to WrestleMania has officially begun, my guys, and we ain't even had the Royal Rumble yet.
I can't wait.
And just to throw a little love over to AEW, we did just get a reveal of a devil. It was kind of cool. The promo this week was
even though we all knew who it was.
I'm just very interested to see.
We did watch the AEW World's End pay-per-view. Sometimes most of the show I was waiting for the asteroid to hit, but it never happened. I've heard people say Edge and Christian or Perimeter and Christian Cage or Adam Copeland, Christian Cage, whatever the hell their names are, was the match of the night. The match was good. The ending absolutely sucked.
It pissed me off.
It was
so dumb.
It got more heat on Christian, which is what he was trying to do, but it was still dumb. I was really waiting for the dinosaur, Barney's cousin or whatever, to smack him in the head with
turn on Christian.
Contract, but he didn't.
Tell him to fuck off.
MJF and Samoa Joe was good. I think it called everybody off, and from what I've heard from people that were actually at the show, MJF's the arm drop for 3, was flat as could be. Wasn't really drawn out, which I kind of thought it would be a little bit more drawn out. Still liked it though because it's a pass out finish and they're usually unexpected. And then we had the devil reveal, which like you said, I think 80% of us had him pegged for Adam Cole. I like the group Undisputed Kingdom, I believe is what they're called now. I like it. I mean, Taven, Bennett, and Cole were the Kingdom in Ring of Honor, and Cole and Strong were Undisputed Era, and they only get bigger with I think one of the best big men in either one of the companies.
Oh, Wardlow?
that would look way better in WWE. Even though he's had a tryout over here, he would look way better in a WWE ring. And that's Warlow. That kid is amazing. I'm a bigger bodied wrestling fan anyway. The little guys don't bother me. I'm just not that big into them. I can't. It's not believable for a 130-pound guy to beat a 250-pound guy. It just don't work for me. Sorry, that's not gonna happen. Especially if his hands are in his pocket and he's wearing sunglasses. Or he's riding a skateboard with face paint on. One of the two. Neither one of them are believable to me facing a 250-pound man. It just don't work.
So it looks like MJF is going to be gone for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe ever.
No, I don't.
Maybe.
I don't think so either, but who's to say he doesn't sit at ringside at Royal Rumble?
Just to fuck with everybody.
Who says he doesn't go to Rumble as one of Cody's guests? Remember they did that a couple years or last year at some point. Ricky Starks was taken as a picture backstage. He's with Cody when he works for AEW.
It all depends on
you
how
do that
those
with
contracts-
MJF. The fucking internet would explode.
See,
Those
But anyhow,
contract talks,
I like
are they real or not?
I like the Undisputed Kingdom. I don't really like
Core go with them when he gets back?
who.
Kyle O'Reilly?
I don't know if Kyle's ever coming back. I mean, he had neck surgery, so that's always iffy. But I don't like.
I haven't seen Bobby Fish in a while.
He's not in AEW anymore. He's in Japan or MLW or one of them.
He was always hurt anyway.
I don't like. I don't like the idea of. I don't like the idea of Cole telling them, "Hey, Kingdom guys already have the Ring of Honor tag belts,
Mhm.
and Roderick's going for the international title, and Warlow's going for the world title, and when he wins it, he's gonna give it to me." I don't like those stories. I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure when you say, "Hey, this guy's gonna win the world title and he's gonna give it to me." A, he's really gonna just hand it over to you and it's gonna be retarded, or I'm sorry, stupid. Yeah, retarded. Or two, it's gonna be Warlow's gonna turn on him, and Warlow's gonna get the rocket shoved up his ass as a face, and then fight with the Kingdom, even though it's already like basically said that that's gonna happen.
See, I really don't have a dog in the fight there. I want to see Wardlow kind of get out from under people and just let him be the monster that he is.
Mm-hmm.
But
anyhow,
ready for our game?
Move on. Let's play a game. Come play a game. Do you want to play a game?
I know. Saw gore porn. So, Ryan, what are we doing this week before you take a drink?
I believe we are going to do another draft because we thought of this on the fly. And I decided we were going to do wrestling managers / valets.
Get me your manager. Sorry, that was my worst Karen attempt.
And by the luck of the draw, keep in mind what we do is on a randomizer. I sent these two bozos the video of the drawing. I put all three of our names are in it twice. You're not selected until your name is selected 2 different times.
I feel like he's got extra entries hidden in there and he just knows how to hide them.
So, the Guru gets to go first, which isn't exactly where I want to be in this situation. But we're going with our top 3 managers, valets. It's me with the first pick, the bald one with the second pick, the extra fat one with the third and the fourth pick.
What about Mr. Supersize Me?
So, TJ says his is one we don't have to worry about because we're not going to pick him, which is probably true.
At least my first one.
Mine's pretty easy. He is the greatest manager of all time. There's no doubt in my mind. He didn't need to have a special title like Advocate to be the best. Bobby the Brain Heenan is my very first pick as the greatest manager of all time.
Shocker.
Well, fuck you. Fuck you with the, he doesn't need the advocate. But no, Bobby Heenan is great.
Oh, is that where we're going?
God damn it, Ryan. Fuck off. Well, who are some of the people that Bobby Heenan managed? So, I know you know this, but
Some
throw it
fucking
out there.
giant guy.
Nick Bockwinkel, Ray Stevens, Andre the Giant, Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, Haku, Ric Flair, the Barbarian, the Red Rooster, the Brooklyn Brawler. There's other ones, but Bobby,
Why do I feel like that was in
Big John,
order, too?
Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, Paul Orndorff. Bobby made everybody. Bobby made everybody he managed better by making them stand out first.
Bobby the Brain
He
Weasel.
would do an interview and he would talk about how dangerous and big and bad these guys were. And he would get to the ring. And if it was against Hogan, which 85-90% of his stuff was always against Hulk Hogan, hence why him saying the comments at the end of Bash at the Beach was not a spoiler. He had no problems jumping on the ramp or jumping up on the apron, taking hits, taking bumps, making himself look like a buffoon to make things better. Bobby the Brain Heenan, the greatest manager of all time.
So I kind of threw some shade at who my first pick is, and it's Paul Heyman, all the way from WCW, being the Dangerous Alliance, and having Arn Anderson.
Keep looking at your computer screen to figure it out.
I had it. I had like two more from the Dangerous Alliance.
The Dangerous Alliance was Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Bobby B. Eaton, Arn Anderson, and Larry Zbyszko.
No, I'm looking that way because wife is that way.
And the valet of that group, besides Paul Heyman, was Medusa.
Oh, I didn't know that one. No, I have WWE's 25 managers on this page because I could think of a couple.
You cheating motherfucker, you.
Who needs a cheat sheet? Damn.
I want to get names right.
All right, give us the one that we didn't call out there, Mr. Supersize Me.
Well, you should have known it would be Paul Bearer.
I don't think that was picked up at all, but please don't do that again.
I'm really, really glad that didn't get picked up at all.
Paul Bearer, man. I think he was the manager for three people, like Mankind, Undertaker, and Kane. My favorite.
Can I add another one to that for you?
Was there another?
Yeah, it was just a small time, but he managed Vader in WWF too.
Okay. I mean, either way, just that you didn't pick it up. If you did, cool. That part of it, that crazy voice, the white face paint, and being with the Undertaker. I mean, you asked me who's your favorite. Like who's the same thing we talked about it we'll talk about it on an episode coming up here. You asked me on the spot. Well, who's the first manager you think of? It's Paul Bearer every time, 100%. Because just it was Paul Bearer and Taker, and that fucking weird urn.
I mean, I hear my name is Paul Heyman.
Yeah, but that's your era, AJ.
Yeah,
like
but
my era.
But your two managers had to have a catchphrase.
I just it is what it is.
Mine didn't.
Well, no, he was the catchphrase. Everything he said could become a catchphrase.
But Paul Bearer's a very good selection, more or less because, I mean, his WWF managing stuff was great, but his other promotion managing as his real name, Percy Pringle.
I thought it was funny how he was actually a mortician.
Which is funnier in its own right, that his name is Percy Pringle. I mean, it's not his real name, but his real name is Bill Moody. But he went by Percy Pringle, which is like, just sounds like a snooty 80s rich guy, like a spoiled brat. And he managed guys like Rick Rude in Houston or in Dallas for WCCW, the Von Erichs. He managed Rick Rude. He managed quite a few other guys. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but his WCW stuff was great, or his WWE stuff was great. You have to think of it this way: he's the guy that created or made the storyline of Kane must see. He's
It's
the guy.
gotta be Kane.
He's the guy that said. He's the guy that told Taker, "I'm gonna tell him your deepest, darkest secret, and you're not gonna stop me from telling you." And then he tells Taker that Kane's alive. And he's talking about this guy named Kane, and you're like, who the hell is Kane? And then Kane shows up, and it's like, oh, well, that's Kane. He's a big giant monster wearing a
Who the
mask.
fuck
And
is Kane?
then what do you find out? You find out that Paul Bear was diddling the Undertaker's mom, and Kane is his son. Did you catch all that? Exactly. So I give you that. Go ahead. What's your second pick?
It's a wrestling soap opera.
Do I want to break Ryan Fry's heart and steal this one from him?
I swear to God, if you do what I think you're gonna do, I'm gonna.
Is it a
send
miss?
box of.
Is it a miss? Well, I don't think it'll be a miss.
Oh? You don't think that's where my brain was?
No. I don't think you will
You
miss.
don't think? You don't think I would have missed a miss? I think I'll let that one go for now. That's just for you, my friend. That's just for you. I think I'm gonna pass over on the obvious choice. Not like it'd be in my power to do something so megally evil. So my next choice would have to be then, I'd suppose. One that didn't stay a valet forever, but started as a valet. I'm gonna go with China.
China was never a valet.
Well, whatever she was,
She was a
because she
bodyguard.
was the
She
was the
Hunter's-
rocket t-shirt gun to Hunter's psychosis.
She was a bodyguard.
Sure,
Hmm
same thing.
Not a bad choice, to be honest with you.
That was not where I was
she
thinking
was-
first, but it's
she
the one
was-
I'm gonna settle with.
She was the muscle of D-Generation X for quite a while, and it took a lot for her to open up and become the China that we all know and loved. I think her most breakout part of DX was, I think it was some kind of dispute going on with DX and Vince, I think it was, or something, where they were standing in the middle of the ring, and Hunter and Triple H were gonna pull down their pants and tell everybody to kiss their ass, and China stops them and goes, "Wait a minute." Or it might not have been Triple H. It might not have been Hunter, Shawnatan. It might have been the other guys. But she looks at all of them and says, "If anybody's gonna get an ass to kiss, it's gonna be mine." And she proceeds to pull her spandex pants down and reveals her ass in a thong. And it was like, oh, okay, she's ready to play. She'll play game with us here at DX and play the game. So, and it was fun. And then to watch her fight the guys, it kind of messed up her career by wrestling the guys, because then after that, what do you do with her?
Mhm.
I mean, she's already been the Intercontinental Champion, but we don't want her fighting the guys anymore. So what do we want to do? Well, if we put the World Women's title on her, who the hell's going to beat her? It's kind of what they ran into.
Can I just say, had we had the era of wrestling we have now, then I would have dream match. China and Ronda Rousey would have been fucking cool to watch.
Yes. You know what else would have been very fun to watch? China and Rhea Ripley.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, just you line them up at this point. Like, she was ahead of her time by so far. Ugh.
Okay.
If only. If
So,
only.
Mr. WWE Top 25 guy, who's next on your list?
Well,
Think about this very carefully. Don't fuck your life up more. He
Oh.
already hates you from the first Stump the Guru.
I plan to completely fuck up my life even more. And honestly, it has a lot to do with Ryan expanding, I guess, not my knowledge, but us watching more shit, or at least me watching more shit. I'm going to take Jimmy Hart.
Oh, thank God.
I'm afraid to hear what TJ thought I was going to pick.
The same one you told him not to pick?
Oh. Going back and watching the WCW matches or the pay-per-views that we went back and watched, and just hearing Jimmy Hart calling plays with a megaphone.
How do you not love the Mouth of the South?
No shit. Like when oh fuck. When they
Well-
screwed Hogan and everything, and
With the Giant at Halloween Havoc '95.
yeah. That was cool.
Not to mention, if it wasn't for Jimmy Hart, you wouldn't have half of the ring music you have now.
Really?
The iconic ring music. He created Sexy Boy for Shawn Michaels. He created basically all WCW music, from the NWO Wolfpack music to Hogan's American Made music. It's better than Real America. Sorry, hot take on that one. And a
You're wrong. Ugh, cough.
couple
Sorry.
other ones. Jimmy Hart's the one that wrote the musics for that.
I didn't know
Uh,
that.
Jimmy Hart, he'll tell you, his band, he was in a band in the 60s, and his band knocked the Beatles off the #1 spot for like 3 weeks. They were called the Gentrys. I can't remember the name of the song. Jimmy will tell me the story at some point. But Jimmy Hart, when it came to the ring music, created a lot of it. He created the Honky Tonk Man's music. Created, like I said, Shawn Michaels music, and most of WCW's music was created by.
Then who the hell
Jimmy
is Jim Johnson?
Jim Johnson came after Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy did a lot of the music in the 80s and 90s, and then Jim Johnson took over when Jimmy left to go to WCW. And from what I've heard, that's been said that in Hulk Hogan's original WCW contract, Jimmy's contract was in Hogan's contract, that Jimmy got to create all this music.
No shit. So Hulk looked after Jimmy there.
Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart were a real life friendship and manager. Jimmy took care of Hulk's financing, or not finances, but managing his projects and making sure he got to the right places and all that. That's why Jimmy was always on Thunder in Paradise, because he was always there. To this day, from what I know, is Hogan goes to autograph signings, Jimmy Hart is with him. So they still have that friendship together.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I don't disagree with Jimmy Hart. That would have probably been my third pick.
I'm gonna give you that one, AJ. I didn't see that coming from you.
I'm just
the
going.
list.
I'm honestly just going off of what we've been watching, because he's been everywhere.
Not to mention, and I don't know why this totally skipped my mind, but Jimmy Hart is a vital, most important part of the Jerry King Lawler Andy Kaufman feud in the 70s. Jimmy Hart is the guy is with Andy Kaufman through that whole entire time. So Jimmy Hart is like the Forrest Gump of wrestling. If you go back and you watch a historical moment, if you look around the rink somewhere, shape or another, Jimmy Hart's standing there somewhere.
And to be honest with you guys, the only reason why I got this list up is because there are so many, and I've seen so many. I don't want to be like, I could have fucking picked that one, kind of thing. Like, oh shit, that didn't pop into my head. But
Okay,
Ryan,
we'll allow you a cheat sheet.
what is your second one?
My second one's very easy, and TJ knows that if he'd have said it, I would have come to Vermont and killed him. For me, it's the first lady of professional wrestling. It's Miss Elizabeth.
Ding, ding, ding.
I really
Called it.
thought TJ was gonna steal it. I really
Nah.
did.
I can wholeheartedly say, with my hand to the Lord above and heart on my chest, Miss Elizabeth was the first TV crush I ever had. I absolutely adored Miss Elizabeth. She was the coolest chick I'd ever seen, and she never really spoke.
Did you bawl like a baby like the little kid did
When
when they reunited?
No, I think it's more because at that time I didn't catch super, like, that was on syndicated television.
Mhm.
That wasn't like on a Raw or anything. Or the Mania hug and celebration it hits different now that Randy's dead, or both of them are dead. Before, not really. Um, like as a kid, man, I can remember the first time I ever saw a match that involved her was, I think I've talked about it before. I had a tape that was Hulk Hogan's greatest matches, and I wore that thing out because back then I couldn't get enough wrestling. The only wrestling came on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings and Monday nights late. So like tapes were like the thing. And on that tape, there's a match of Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man Randy Savage from Paris, France. It's right after WrestleMania 5, so it's right after the Mega Powers explode. Randy has Sensational Sherry in her corner, and Hogan has Elizabeth in his corner. And I, not knowing the backstory for the whole thing, I thought it was so cool that Hulk Hogan had a female valet that was in his corner. I thought that was the coolest thing ever as a kid. And I think it was. I think more and more of stuff I watch now, I get the idea of she never had to interact with anybody because she didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
The presence of basically her beauty of the 80s was enough to distract the guys in the ring sometimes. Sometimes she was the over emotional stuff for like when Randy was getting attacked and takes off and goes gets Hogan. Um it was just different from everybody else because back in the 80s, the only ones that had managers in the WWF or valets in the WWF were the heels. Randy's a face, Hulk Hogan's the biggest face, and they have a lady manager.
I mean, not to be fucked up. It's not like Randy gave her a choice of being able to do shit at when she wasn't out there.
So we've been told. Let's go with that. So we've been told. But
Allegedly.
she was always, I always loved it when like Mean Gene would interview her because you could tell she didn't want to talk on the camera. Like she didn't like it at all. And then like her and Randy split and she goes away. Randy and Hogan go to WCW and they need a little bit of secret surprise. And here comes Elizabeth back. Everybody then knows that Randy and her aren't together, but they're going to work together. Then you get the heel turn Elizabeth, where she gives Ric Flair her high heel shoe to hit Savage in the face with to win the world title at Super Bowl '96. And we're off to the races with. It's like they flipped a switch because like you had WrestleMania 8 where Flair said that all this stuff happened between him and Liz, and it turns out it was all faked. Well, WCW's like, fuck that, we'll make it real. Let's put Liz with the Horsemen and make her have all of Randy's money. So then she was heel Elizabeth, spending all of Randy's money. I didn't care that she was a heel; she was still beautiful. Um, and then of course, then she gets stuck with the NWO. Randy comes back. Her and Randy are together again. And we get her and Bischoff were together for a short period. Elizabeth was just the first and true only lady of professional wrestling.
Oh, you get to pick again, by the way.
No, let's not snake the last one. So go AJ. I'll pick last.
No. Fuck, I wasn't ready.
Oh, I got a good one.
Ryan, just do it normal. Do normal snake.
No, I don't want to. Who the fuck made you the balls? No. Okay. So if I got to pick for a third one,
It's called AJ didn't want to pick wrong again.
well, you took Jimmy Hart, which would have probably been in my top 3. Which sure as hell Paul Heyman would be in my top 3. Fuck it. I'll go with another female. I'll take Sensational Sherry.
Scary Sherry.
Sensational Sherry was what Elizabeth wasn't. She would get into the ring with the boys. She would get atomic dropped by Hulk Hogan and double naga-naggered into Randy Savage. She would take bumps, and boy, you better hit her with the bumps or she gonna smack the shit out of you when she gets back to the locker room.
You know, I'm kind of surprised you didn't take like a Jim Cornette or something.
I feel like I'd have been just copying a top 25 board like you.
I'm using it as so I don't freaking forget anybody.
But then you had her in WCW with Flair for a little while when Hogan first debuted. And then you had her sister Sherry with Booker and Stevie Ray, and that made Booker and Stevie Ray better with having Sister Sherry there as their manager. So, yeah, I'll be the different one. I'll take the two females.
I mean, it ain't a bad one.
So AJ, what's that give for you?
What's fucked up is he said female, and I was waiting for him to say "excuse me." See, to be fair, I'm not picking her, but she did exactly what she needed to. But somebody who
You might as well name her. At least name her at this point, so anybody that doesn't have a clue.
Vicky Guerrero was with Edge and Dolph Ziggler. I don't think she was with anybody else, manager wise.
Other than managing the show at one point, but yes, continue.
Honestly, somebody who I only knew about being a manager recently until Ryan started throwing stuff of LOD out there. I'm going Paul Ellering.
You unbelievable bastard. You wow. Wow.
From the shit that he did in Japan with LOD to the stuff he's doing now with AOP, Author of Pain. Shit. Like he puts the, at least now, because I haven't seen a lot of his older stuff, and I don't want to talk on his older stuff because I haven't seen a lot of it. But the stuff he's done with AOP is they didn't need to talk at all. He gave you the intensity without having to.
You do know, right?
What?
They're back.
Yes, I do.
Like this week.
Yes, I know. And I'm actually very excited for that he is with them again. Like, is he going to be the manager of that 5? Like, Ryan, how is that actually going to work? Oh, okay.
I have
Cool.
no idea.
But
You're right, because AOP with Drake Maverick is not as intimidating as AOP with Paul Ellering.
yeah,
But Paul Ellering has that ability. Paul Ellering made LOD where they were screaming and hollering and you couldn't make out what they were saying. And then you had Paul Ellering with the Wall Street Journal in his hand making it clear cut what these two monsters of destruction are going to do to you.
and the only reason why he popped into my head was because of this week, TJ.
And then, I mean, then you had in 97, 98, LOD brought him back, and then he turned on them and joined the Disciples of Apocalypse, which was Crush's group, which is the motorcycle group. He managed Skull and 8-Ball feuding with LOD, and then he went away and he was gone for a while. And then he showed up with AOP and NXT, and they were the hottest thing in NXT. And then they moved him up to the main roster without him, and I don't know why they did that.
I think that's where they went flat.
And they put Drake Maverick with them, and it was kind of like, this doesn't work.
And they were doing okay with Seth, but then the injury.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird time because they wasn't with Seth long. They were only with Seth for like a week, and the one got hurt.
I wonder if it's going to be like a him and Scarlett thing now, or is
Seth
he just going to be?
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun. I'm glad for Karrion to finally get what looks like a big push. It kind of sucks though that they're gonna use the Hurt Profit to be like the guinea pigs for him. But then again, if you can't change your gimmick up, then you shouldn't be a top gimmick anyway. So run right over those boys.
But yeah, Paul Ellering, and honestly, if it wasn't for what happened this weekend, that name, this on Friday, that name wouldn't have been even close in my head. TJ, were you
bastard.
picking that? Well,
You stole the words right out of my mouth, you bastard. I never in a million years would have pegged you to grab that one. Wow.
who'd you think I was gonna take?
Anybody but that. I am shocked. I am stunned, and I don't even know. I'm broke. You broke me.
I thought that was your never mind.
So that falls it back to me, and at this moment I am blanked hard. I know I was gonna kind of do like an honorable mention thing to a couple, and I guess at this point I'm just gonna take that one since somebody stole mine.
You should have taken Miss
The other
Elizabeth.
thing you didn't mention is it's just a span of time. That motherfucker's been around forever. Feels like. I mean, I guess at this point somebody else that did a lot
mid
and had-
80s to now, Ryan, or early 80s.
Early 80s.
I mean, that's the testament to him is just
The
that
thing
length
about
of
Paul
time.
Ellering is he started off as a wrestler.
Oh, I
His
didn't
name
know
was
that.
Precious Paul Ellering, and he started in like the Carolinas.
So I think then for me, just because he's done so much other things, he's been a manager and now he does a lot of other things, is Brother Love.
You made
And
Ryan.
yes.
You made Ryan smile with that.
I was because again I didn't think you'd pick him. I was gonna be like honorable mention because it goes back to where we get Paul Bearer. Brother Love brings in Paul Bearer.
If this category was of your favorite WWE office people, Bruce would have been my number one pick over everybody. I love Bruce Pritchard. I'll admit to it. I love his podcast. I've went to see him in person a bunch of times for live appearances. Bruce is one of those guys, and I know he gets flack because people put him in the Yes Men group of the Stooges and stuff. But when you listen to him on his podcast and stuff, he's telling you he's not telling you the facts of the event or what happened in the event for the sake of the stats. He's telling you what happened in his perspective and what things meant to him. And I think that's a cool way of looking at things because like I think everybody has the assumption of the top dogs like, oh, well, Raw had a TV on and had WCW on the other when it was playing. Bruce is like, I didn't have time to watch other show. I was busy doing our shit. I didn't have time to go watch their stuff. We're booking our shit over here, and I don't know. I met him at a live. Him and Conrad did a 2-man show down in Baltimore at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Shout out to Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Get a plug. Maybe we can get a sponsorship thing. Who knows? Their seafood and their crab cakes are the best crab cakes in the world. I'm going to have some the night of Royal Rumble for a watch party down at Jimmy's Famous Seafood.
So where the fuck am I supposed to watch the Rumble now? What the fuck, Ryan?
With the rest of us in Discord.
Yeah. But I like your pick there. I will give you that one as Bruce's idea for The Undertaker was a yin to his yang. The Brother Love character was all about love. Yes, it was a take on a televangelist, but they never used religion. They used the book of love. It was all about love and the white color and everything of that nature. And The Undertaker was the yin to his yang with the darkness and the Western Undertaker gimmick, and it worked.
Quick fire honorable mentions.
I wasn't done.
I'm just saying.
I
just want to point out this blurb has become a full blown episode.
I don't care. Does it look like I care? Because I don't. But anyhow, you wouldn't have your number one pick if it wasn't for your number three pick.
I know. That's why I said it.
And the only reason you have a number one pick and not your number three pick being your number one pick, now that's a lot of numbers to get confused with. I understand. But Bruce was doing the gimmick with The Undertaker as Brother Love and still producing backstage. Was still in the gorilla position doing timing and everything. So he ended up. Vince gave him an ultimatum. It's either you work on the road with the boys or you work with production. Brother Love chose production. Bruce chose
Thank
production.
God. Thank God. That's
And
all I can say to
introduced
that.
Paul Bear, who introduced for him as he was a mortician, which worked out good because you had to be a mortician or have a mortician's license to buy caskets. So they had Paul Bear buy caskets for the Undertaker's funeral parlor and all that stuff.
Why are you buying so many caskets? No reason.
Yeah.
All the time. That's all you need to know.
I'll tell you this funny story. I thought this was always hilarious. You know how Andre the Giant was always picky on people that he liked?
Hmm?
Andre the Giant loved Bruce Pritchard. Andre the Giant hated Brother Love.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Did he not know the difference?
Oh, he knew the difference.
Oh, okay.
He didn't like the fact because Brother Love, his face was bright red with makeup and his hair was slicked back, and he would tell Bruce, "Me don't like Brother Love. Me like Bruce."
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah,
Good pick. Good pick. Honorable mentions. You fire one off. I'll fire one off. AJ can read off this 25 board.
I
Cornette?
closed it because we were done.
Cornette.
See,
Well, then we only have one honorable mention because mine was Cornette.
I don't know a lot about Cornette outside of his podcast.
Jim
And
Cornette
this
is
racket wielding destruction machine.
Jim Cornette, non-political, is an amazing manager. Jim Cornette talking about politics is dumber than dog shit. My
Honestly,
opinion.
I mentioned Vicky because Vicky I thought was really good at what she did, but I'm gonna go to another woman. And Stephanie.
Yeah.
Managing Triple H,
Manager, valet, whatever.
Managing Jericho.
Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle.
Managing Jericho versus Triple H was probably her best stuff. And I only say that because she elevated Jericho to Hunter's level. That's the job of a manager or a valet. Your job is to elevate your talent without you being seen or without you taking the full effect of the push.
Yeah.
The dude with Del Rio.
Ricardo Rodriguez, the ring announcer guy.
Yeah.
A very cool guy. Met him in person. Got to have a conversation with him. Very cool guy. Trains up here in right outside of Philadelphia. Has a training school up there. I think it's called like Three Legacies or something.
Remember Armando Estrada?
He would be an okay one. Umaga didn't need a manager.
No.
Umaga didn't need a manager. All Umaga needed was the bell to ring.
Lana, decent for what it was.
I'm curious.
I loved Lana
curious
towards
to
the
s-
end of that run in WWE.
I'm curious to see what she does as CJ Perry with Miro in AEW now.
Slicing almost half her finger off with a splinter
She didn't slice her finger off. She got an infection in her finger
because of a splinter.
because of a splinter, and they had to go in for emergency surgery and open her finger up to get the infection out. She almost lost her middle finger.
I thought she almost died because it went.
Well, yeah, she easily could have got septic. Sepsis, not septic. Septic is what you shit in. Sepsis is what you get as an infection.
She would have
Blood-
been septic if she
blood
didn't got
poisoning.
sepsis.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would give Lana. Lana is the only true. How do I put this? Lana is the only true manager these days, or was.
Scarlet now.
Scarlett does to a point, but I think Ellerine will be the one on the microphone more than her when it comes to this.
I
new
mean,
group
where
that
would you-
doesn't even have a name yet.
Where would you put Captain Lou?
A tag team expert.
I remember him in the music video.
Captain Lou was good for managing tag teams
And all the rubber bands around his beard.
Well, he used to always pierce his cheek with a rubber
Was
band.
it the cheek or I thought it was his ear.
No, he'd always have his cheek right about here pierced with a rubber band.
Would it be fair to call the roadie a valet?
For Jeff Jarrett for a little while.
No. I guess you could, but that was just a way to introduce Jesse James. In a way, it wasn't his job
The
to be his
badass
manager.
Billy. Kurt?
Uh, Captain Lou was a great manager of tag teams. The Wild Samoans was his tag team. Freddie Blassie would have been tag teams with the Sheik and Nikolai. Slick was a good manager with the Twin Towers, not the ones that fell down. Boss Man and Hakeem. He had Power and Glory with Hercules and Roma, and then he had Warlord and Paul or Rick Martel. Slick had, and Butch Reed was also in Slick's stable of. That was the thing about the 80s. These guys would have stables of guys they would manage. Like Heenan had the Heenan family. Slick had his group. Jimmy Hart had his group where he
Oh,
managed.
fuck! One we didn't even really call out that he didn't always manage, but $1 Million Man.
You had the $1 Million Corporation.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, we
Yeah.
didn't even mention him.
Was
Not
it
to mention,
Sid Vicious
to
at the
mention-
time, or was it Psycho Sid when he managed?
he managed Psycho Sid. But he also, I mean, WWF, he had the Money Incorporated with Sid and 123 Kid and Ringmaster and Kama and IRS and Bam Bam and
That's
Tatanka
right. Steve Austin had
and
the
Nikolai
belt.
Volkov. But WCW, he managed the Steiner brothers when they were feuding with the NWO, and they were over like Rover when he was managing them.
So we're having
Last
2
person-
episodes this week?
We're getting a blurb episode and then an episode.
we were off for 2 weeks, guys. What the fuck, man?
Blowing our load already.
AJ, bonus question. Who's the last person to hold the $1 million belt?
Somebody in NXT.
Somebody in NXT.
I actually
this
don't
guy?
know. Was it really?
Yeah!
Was it really?
But yeah, I mean, that was the thing with the managers in the 80s was they all had groups of people they managed, and that's what made it fun because you'd always get, and it was always the heels. Faces didn't have managers. Jimmy Hart had Honky Tonk, Greg Valentine, the Hart Foundation.
Hey, TJ, do you want to be
couple
wrong?
others.
Do you want to be wrong?
Was it Grimes?
It was Grimes.
Well,
Really?
still, the best one to hold it here in the last 10 years is this guy
Do you know where the belt was made?
in Connecticut. It only cost 20 grand
I wonder what 20.
or 40 grand.
I'm curious on what 40 grand is now.
Um,
Stop
But
thinking
like-
with that beautiful bald head of yours.
And
Time
I
to
was-
get out of here.
like I said, that was the thing. The heels had managers, and then all of them ran a loop with Hogan, or they ran a loop with Savage, or they ran a loop with Warrior. And it was never, the only time it was ever like wrestler versus wrestler was Andre and Hogan. The other ones was always like Hogan versus Bobby, and he sends his talent, or Hogan versus Jimmy Hart, and he sends his guys. So that was always the fun part of managers. And how much is $40,000 worth now?
Do we want to take a bet?
1.3 million.
You're over, but not over by a gigantic amount.
1.28 million.
Okay, that TJ.
900,000.
Okay, actually, I lied. You both were over by a horrible lot.
I'm glad you know fucking can read numbers there, dickweed.
I thought it was a comma, but it was actually a dot.
That's what she said.
Oh, yeah, I know. You do this to the comma.
God.
Ow.
Oh, poor Jess. Anyway, the number is
Is the period- is the
98,000.
period with a swoosh?
98,521. Because the belt was made in 1989.
100K. Just round it up. It's 100K. For fuck's sake. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around with us
Well,
during our quick recap
if
and then
it was made in
manager episode.
if it was made in 98, 88, it's 102,000, almost 103.
God.
So it doubled
Yes.
in price.
this was going to be a
Yeah.
blurb episode that turned into a quick week recap.
I swear to
With
God, we need a
a-
fucking blurb shirt after today's episode.
A manager episode / draft.
Listen, we're not getting cussed at to get back to something else. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, I'm not.
Wait.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing with fun and joy.
Hope he's
This is
enjoying his
great.
fucking cruise.
We've had 2 weeks of vacation time because of being sick and holiday and everything else.
Oh,
I
so
ain't been sick. I ain't been sick. Not my fault the twos of yous can't keep the shit fucking down.
we never canceled it because of me.
We canceled it because of me. I'll be forthright honest. I
Peak
couldn't
season
talk.
happened,
So
and it sliced off the end of Fry's foot.
listen to this for if you guys didn't know, and I'm sorry, TJ. I know you want to end this so you can go back to playing video games.
I don't care.
Cameron Grimes relinquished the title back to Ted DiBiase on a taped episode of NXT, where WWE then, in their canon, retired the belt.
Oh, I smell bitch in here.
Can WWE retire a belt that technically doesn't belong to them? No, I'm actually asking that.
I thought that was the one where it's The Rock telling you to shut up, bitch, and it was the wrong one.
All right, bye everybody.
Love you all.
Check us
It's been a
out on
great
Friday.
episode.